It had been raining for as long as this child could remember. When they arrived in this strange town, the first thing they noticed was the rain. It wasn't a gentle rain. It was a heavy, thick rain that seemed determined to soak anything it touched. The streets were always wet. The buildings were coated with moss and the people seemed miserable. But the townspeople didn't seem to mind the rain. They all walked around with umbrellas, and the children played in the puddles without a care in the world. But this didn't make sense to the child. If it rained every day, wouldn't they get tired of it? Wouldn't they want the sun to shine just once in a while? As the child looked up at the gray, cloudy sky, they couldn't help but wonder why the sun never came out. Why was it always so dark? Where were the birds? Where were the flowers? This town seemed like a shadow of what it once was. There was no laughter, only silence. That night, the child had a dream. They were walking through the town when they saw a ray of light coming from behind a building. As they approached, they realized it was the sun, but it was weak, and the townspeople were hiding from it as if they were afraid of its light. Suddenly, the child knew what they had to do. They had to bring the sun back to the town. In their dream, the child walked into the forest. They walked for a long time until they saw a temple in the distance. It looked ancient and mysterious. As they approached, they felt a sense of peace and warmth. And when they stepped inside, they saw it. The sun was trapped inside the temple. And the child knew that if they could find a way to release it, the town would be saved. The child searched the temple, looking for a way to free the sun. They checked behind statues, under tables, and even inside paintings. Finally, they found a small opening. It was hidden behind a bookshelf and it looked like a keyhole. The child knew instinctively that they had to do something else to free the sun. The child went back to the town and looked up at the sky. For the first time, they saw a small crack in the clouds. It was barely noticeable, but it was enough. The child took off their umbrella and held it up to the sky. At that moment, the clouds parted and a single ray of light came through. The child closed their eyes, smiled, and whispered, "Thank you." Then they opened their eyes and looked around. The entire town was bathed in sunlight. The people cheered and the children laughed. The sun was back. The child woke up feeling refreshed and happy. As they looked out the window, they saw that the sky was clear and the sun was shining. A gentle breeze blew through the trees and the birds sang sweetly. The child got up and walked outside. It felt so good to feel the sun on their skin. They took a deep breath and smiled. The town was finally back to normal.